People generally judge what they don't know. But when they get to know people, they will ultimately put their guards down, let their guards down, because they'll see that this person, although he made a bad decision, he is probably not the same person that made that decision. I think it's difficult when you know that you're going to be judged for the rest of your life for prior bad decisions that you've made. I think there's a great loss to society by just flagrantly discriminating against people with records. The reentry work that I do is to help ameliorate the lives of others who have criminal justice involvement.
How are you, sir?
We help support the employment of people, but oftentimes individuals go to meet with employers and they discriminate against them.
I went for the fingerprint thing. When we came back, they said, "Oh, we can't use you." It was a couple of
They didn't say they couldn't use you because of your conviction, but you feel that was the reason.
After they got my fingerprints.
Yeah. They said they can't use you, but they didn't say we're not hiring you because of your conviction.
No.
All right, so we'll be in touch. We'll be waiting on that.
One of the biggest obstacles that hold people back is the issue of the stigma of incarceration. Because when you come out, you automatically know that you're not on equal footing. You know that people are gonna discriminate against you. You know that off the bat.
No matter what I do, no matter where I go, somebody will always have something to say. She's a formerly convicted felon. She did time in prison. We can't trust her. People shouldn't constantly deny a person coming home things that they need to survive because they was formerly incarcerated. I'm still having a hard time with housing. Everybody doesn't want to rent me an apartment. If they do a credit check on me, I have no credit history because I did 20 years in prison.
You want vegetables? Or corn?
Well, we got asparagus.
I am a man that has morals and has values and loves the family that I have. And when you meet me, you say, wow, this guy, I never would have guessed that he was in prison. I'm someone who's about to start a PhD program. I'm about to start teaching at John Jay College of Criminal Justice, of all things. So I go from being someone who deprecated my community by engaging in criminal activity to actually teaching criminal justice in a college. When you give people a chance, they can do well. One of the issues that I was not prepared for is, I think, the interaction with parole.
So we're on 135th or so in Lincoln Avenue, which is I think it's Bronx 1, Division of Parole. There are maybe around 20 or 30 guys out here already, and it's approximately 8:25 in the morning. I'm feeling like I gotta get to work. I mean, it's already half my day almost gone at parole.
I've dealt with it by being patient. Parole could definitely improve its practices. And, you know, a lot of times people are often painted with the same brush. I think they're trying to change that now.
I am currently living right now in the Upper West Side, Amsterdam Projects, with my aunt, who is 86 years old. And I stay there with her. I help take care of her.
Which one, Jello, Clinton?
I had Jello.
You had Jello earlier?
Her son, who was sent to a program, he's in a program now. So when he comes home from the program, I have to find housing because he's on parole. Both of us cannot be on parole together, living in the same household. I cannot come to my mother's house because my case came from this building. I caught my charges of my case while living at my mom's house.
You like grandma's makeup?
It's not the management that's telling me I can't live there. It's actually parole that says I cannot go back there. And the bottom line is that There's really nobody here that knows me. If I don't find an apartment before my cousin is released from the rehabilitation center that he's at, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know where I'm gonna live.
Okay. For example, you mentioned employment. So we do have a couple of employment programs. And we have, so I mean, if he's looking for housing.
A person that's coming home from incarceration needs to work as bad as anyone else. And so if that person cannot support his or her family, then the expectation is probably that this person will engage in some criminal activity that might put that person back in the predicament that they were in to begin with. So we do not afford people opportunities like education, like employment, like equal housing opportunities. Then we're always going to be right back at square one. It becomes a vicious cycle because you can't expect people to pull themselves up from their own bootstraps when they don't even have boots.
So I blew off my errands and headed up the coast. It was my turn.
I realized why people go back to prison now. I realize people go back to prison because nobody wants to give them a job. Nobody wants to trust them with a house. Nobody wants to support them. So they go back to doing what they knew how to do to survive. To Mommy, hey Mom, what's going on? I'm trusting my letter will reach you in the best of health mentally, physically, emotionally, and in the right state of mind. I'm proud of you, Mom, for doing 20 years, coming home and getting a job. After most people do that much time, they bug out, but you were strong. One of the things that I said to my son was that when my granddaughter was born, he was bringing her to a prison to see me, and that's his daughter. And I said once I came out, she would never have to go to prison to visit anybody else. But now she's going to prison to visit him. And I said to him that we have to break the cycle. We don't want to keep it every generation that somebody has to go to prison and a child has to go visit their parent in prison.
What, you ready to ride now too?
Yeah.
Why? Because you saw me riding? Huh?
Certainly not having a father in my life impacted my life in a negative way. Having a father that was a drug dealer, that was in jail when I was born and all the rest of that was probably an even greater influence. When I went to prison, my son was 3 years old. When I came home, my son was 18 and about to graduate from high school. I have a relatively good relationship with my son. He's an adult now, he's 23 years old. I don't want people to make the same decisions that I made, a lot of the young people that I associate with. So, you know, it gets kind of emotional at times, but it's real for me.
I just think that society they don't really know what incarceration is about. They only know what they know from TV. I was one of those people. I only knew what I knew from TV. I know that I've changed a lot of people's minds about the stigma of being incarcerated just by talking to them. Sometimes it's just listening. Give me a chance to show you that I am a changed person, that I have transformed my life.
I've dealt with it by just realizing that this too shall pass. That if I want to go to another state, that if I want to go to another country, which I've never done before in my life, there's gonna come a time, and my hope is that it's very soon, that I will be able to put that behind me. That I will be able to say that, wow, I'm free.